The second Aaron asked, "How fast can you grow this if money stops being a problem?" my brain went completely blank. Because nobody had ever treated the app like a real company before. To most people, it was a side hustle, a coding hobby, or that weird TikTok thing. But Aaron looked at it like infrastructure, like something big. I tried playing it cool, pretty fast. Bro, I was lying. I had absolutely no idea how startups actually scaled. The biggest thing I'd successfully scaled so far was caffeine addiction. Aaron leaned forward. Here's the reality. Every creator in the world is moving toward short-form content. Most of them just don't know it yet. That line stuck with me, because suddenly I realized something terrifying. I might actually be early, not late, not desperate, early. Aaron opened a notebook and started writing numbers, potential users, monthly subscriptions, growth projections. The numbers looked fake, like Monopoly money fake. Then he finally said, "I'll invest $50,000. My stomach dropped instantly. $50,000. At that point, I think my total life savings was like $112. I genuinely forgot how to speak for a second. Aaron smiled slightly. "You look like you're about to pass out. Honestly, fair." Then came the catch, because there's always a catch. For 15% of the company. Now listen. Today, I understand startup equity way better. Back then, I barely understood taxes, so my brain immediately focused on one thing only, $50,000, enough to get an apartment, buy proper servers, eat food that wasn't gas station quality. It felt life-changing, but something stopped me from saying yes immediately. Maybe pride, maybe fear, or maybe because deep down I knew once you take money from investors, everything changes. Aaron noticed my hesitation instantly. "Take the night," he said calmly, "but don't wait too long. Markets move fast." Translation, other people are building too. That thought haunted me the entire drive back to Starbucks, because suddenly I started noticing competitors everywhere. Editing apps, AI startups, creator tools. The tech world moves scary fast. One minute you're early, next minute you're forgotten. That night, I parked behind the gym like usual and couldn't sleep at all. I just kept staring at the roof of the car, thinking about the offer. $50,000. Part of me wanted to accept immediately. Another part kept whispering, "What if you're giving away your future too cheap?" And honestly, that terrified me, because broke people think differently about money. When you grow up struggling, immediate survival always feels more important than long-term ownership. Then, around 2 a.m., my phone buzzed. "Marcus, first message in weeks. Bro, are you actually getting rich?" I laughed out loud alone in the car. Then another text. "Saw your app everywhere today." Funny how success changes people's tone. A month earlier, my app was a joke. Now, suddenly everyone acted curious. I replied, "Working on it." Marcus immediately asked, "So like, are you hiring?" Bro, I nearly threw my phone. But honestly, I understood it. Momentum attracts people. That's just how humans work. Then another notification popped up. New sign-up. Then another, and another. Even at 2 a.m., the app kept growing. That feeling was addictive. Not the money, the momentum. Watching something you built spread across the world while you sit in a parked Honda Civic eating protein bars is genuinely surreal. Then my laptop buzzed with an email notification. Subject line, "Urgent, copyright concern." My stomach dropped instantly. Inside was a legal complaint from a massive media company claiming the AI-generated clips violated licensing agreements. I reread the email like 6 times, because suddenly I realized something huge. The bigger the app got, the bigger the problems got too. And these weren't internet problems anymore. These were real, legal adult money problems. I barely slept that night. Next morning, I walked into Starbucks looking absolutely distraught. Maya took one look at me and said, "You look haunted." I handed her my phone silently, showing the legal email. She frowned, reading it. "That sounds expensive." "Exactly." Then she asked, "So what are you going to do?" I shrugged hopelessly. "I don't know." And Maya, who was literally handing out blueberry muffins 10 minutes ago, accidentally gave me one of the smartest pieces of advice I've ever heard. She said, "If giant companies are noticing you, doesn't that kind of mean you matter now?" Silence, because she was right. Small ideas don't scare giant companies. Important ones do. That completely changed my perspective. So instead of panicking, I went straight back to coding. I added copyright filters, automatic detection systems, creator protection tools, basically rebuilding huge parts of the app from scratch. And weirdly, the pressure made the product better. Then later that afternoon, Aaron called me again. First thing he asked, "So, decision made?" I looked around the Starbucks, people typing on laptops, coffee machines hissing, my backpack sitting beside me containing basically my whole life. Then I looked out the window toward my car, the place I slept, the place I built everything. And for the first time in months, I didn't feel embarrassed anymore. I felt dangerous. So I took a deep breath and answered, "I want a better deal."
There was a long silence on the phone. Then Aaron laughed. "You want a better deal?" I took a deep breath. Yeah, my heart was pounding because honestly, I had never negotiated anything in my life. Aaron stayed quiet for a second. Then he said, "All right, what are you thinking?" I threw out a number that sounded completely insane to me. 50,000 for 10%. Silence. A long silence. The kind that makes you question every decision you've ever made. Finally, Aaron spoke. "Interesting." Not yes, not no, just interesting. A few hours later, he sent over revised paperwork, 12%. Not exactly what I wanted, but way better than the original offer. And just like that, I had my first investor. The money hit my account 3 days later. Seeing 5 figures in my bank account felt unreal. The first thing I did, not buy a car, not buy expensive clothes, I rented a tiny apartment. Nothing fancy, just a place with a bed. After months in my Honda Civic, that mattress felt like a luxury hotel. But success created new problems fast. The app kept growing. Thousands of users joined every week. Support tickets exploded. Servers became expensive. Competitors started appearing everywhere. And then, one morning, I woke up to terrible news. A huge tech company had launched a product almost identical to mine. Same idea, same audience, way more money. My stomach dropped. Because unlike me, they had hundreds of employees, marketing teams, investors, resources. I spent the whole day convinced I was finished. Then, that night, Maya called. By then, we'd become pretty close. I told her everything, the competitor, the fear, the pressure. After listening quietly, she said, "Can they move faster than you?" I frowned. "What?" "Big companies are powerful, but they're slow." That hit me immediately because she was right. They had more money, but I had something else. I could change the product overnight, and that's exactly what I decided to do. The next morning, I declared war. Not actual war, startup war, which basically means less sleep, more caffeine, and making increasingly questionable life decisions. The giant tech company had launched their version of my app. Everyone online assumed I was finished. Comments everywhere. RIP small startup. Big company wins. Sell before it's too late. Honestly, for about 12 hours I believed them. Then I remembered something important. They had money. I had speed. So I stopped trying to compete with them directly. Instead, I started listening obsessively to users. Every complaint became a feature. Every request became an update. People wanted better captions? Done in 48 hours. More editing styles? Done. Podcast clipping improvements? Done. While the big company spent weeks planning meetings, I was shipping updates overnight. Users noticed. Fast. Creators started posting. Why is the smaller app actually better? This feature is insane. The big company doesn't even have this. For the first time, the narrative shifted. We weren't the underdog anymore. We were the app innovating faster. Growth accelerated again. Revenue crossed $50,000 a month, then $80,000, then 6 figures. Every month felt crazier than the last. I hired my first employee, then another, then a small support team. Suddenly, I wasn't coding alone anymore. We rented a tiny office, nothing fancy, just a few desks and bad coffee. But to me, it felt like Google headquarters. Then, one afternoon, while reviewing analytics, I saw something unbelievable. A huge percentage of our users weren't creators anymore. They were businesses, marketing agencies,
brands, media companies. People were using the software in ways I'd never imagined. That's when the real opportunity appeared. The app wasn't just a creator tool, it was infrastructure. And investors noticed too. Emails started arriving weekly, some offering partnerships, some offering funding, some offering buyouts. Most of them I ignored until one email changed everything. The sender, one of the biggest software companies in the industry. The subject line was simple: acquisitive discussion. I stared at the screen for almost a full minute because deep down, I knew this conversation could change my entire life.
I stared at the email for at least 5 minutes. Not because I didn't understand it, because I understood it perfectly. An acquisition. Somebody wanted to buy the company. The same company I built while sleeping in a Honda Civic. The same company everybody laughed at. The same company that started from a Starbucks table and a stupid idea nobody believed in. I immediately called Maya. By then, she wasn't working at Starbucks anymore. A few months earlier, I'd hired her to help run operations because, honestly, she believed in the company before almost anybody else did. She answered on the second ring. What happened? I laughed. You know me too well. Investor problem or server problem? Neither. Silence. Then I said, somebody wants to buy the company. Long pause. Then, oh. That's when I knew it was serious, because Maya never said, oh. We spent the next few weeks in meetings, lawyers, executives, financial advisors, people using words I pretended to understand. Every meeting felt surreal. 1 year earlier, I was sleeping in parking lots. Now, executives in expensive suits were discussing numbers that looked completely fake. Then came the official offer, $42 million. I remember staring at the document thinking there had to be a typo. $42 million? For software I built in coffee shops? For code written in parking lots? For an idea people called stupid? The crazy part, the money wasn't even the thing that hit me hardest. It was the validation. Because suddenly all those nights alone in my car meant something. All the doubt, all the rejection, all the people telling me to get a real job. I thought about Marcus a lot during that week, not because I was angry anymore, because, honestly, he represented what most people believed. The app looked ridiculous from the outside, and sometimes the difference between a crazy idea and a genius idea is simply whether it works. The day we signed the acquisition papers felt weirdly normal. No dramatic music, no movie scene, just signatures, handshakes, documents. Then it was done. The company officially belonged to somebody else. And just like that, my life changed forever. A month later, I met Marcus for lunch. First time we'd really talked in a long time. He sat down, looked at me, and immediately started laughing. What? He shook his head. Bro, you actually did it. I laughed too, because honestly, I still couldn't fully believe it myself. Then he said something that stuck with me. You know what's funny? What? You were the only person who couldn't see how obsessed you were. I frowned. What does that mean? Marcus smiled. Everybody else thought you were crazy, but you never stopped, even when it looked impossible. And weirdly, he was right. Looking back now, talent wasn't the reason. The app wasn't even the best idea ever. The real difference was simple. I stayed. Most people quit when things get uncomfortable. I got evicted and stayed. The app crashed and stayed. Competitors showed up and stayed. Investors doubted me and stayed. I just kept showing up long enough for the story to change. Nowadays, people ask me for startup advice all the time. They expect some secret formula, some millionaire hack. Honestly, I usually tell them the truth. Most success stories sound impressive at the end, but in the middle, they mostly look like failure. The middle is where people quit. The middle is where dreams look stupid. The middle is where you're sleeping in a car wondering if you're wasting your life. That's the part nobody posts online. A few months ago, I visited the same Starbucks where everything started. The employees had changed, the furniture was different, even the walls looked different. But the corner table was still there.
I sat down with a coffee and just looked around. For a second, I could almost see the old version of myself. Broke, exhausted, terrified, coding while pretending everything was okay. And honestly, I felt proud of that guy. Not because he became successful, because he kept going when there was absolutely no evidence it would work. As I was leaving, a college kid sitting nearby stopped me. "Hey," he said, "you're the app guy, right?" I laughed. "Something like that." Then he pointed at his laptop. "I'm working on a startup too." I smiled. "That's awesome." He hesitated, then asked, "Do you think it can actually work?" I looked at the screen. Half-finished project, messy design, big dream. Sounded familiar. Then I smiled and gave him the same answer life eventually gave me. Honestly, you only need everybody to be wrong once.